Hello, dear friends, and welcome once again to another Divine Laws program where you and I study the very laws that shall govern our lives, not only for now, but throughout immortality. So it is with much gratitude to God, to Master Jesus, and to the mentors here present that we will now focus our attention on question 78 of the Spirit's book by Kardec, grateful for the opportunity to consciously acquire divine wisdom in order to multiply it through our thoughts, feelings, words, and actions on behalf of many others. It is with this proposal in mind that we will now read and study question and answer number 78. Shall we? Kardec, in question 78, asks the good spirits the following question: did spirits have a beginning, or have they existed from all eternity like God? The answer from the illuminated spirits to Kardec and all of us is as follows. If spirits had no beginning, they would be equal to God. On the contrary, they are God's creation and subject to the divine will. God has existed from all eternity. That is incontestable. But we know nothing as to when and how we spirits were created. You could say that we had no beginning if you meant that since God is eternal, then God must have always and unceasingly created spirits. Nevertheless, when and how each of us was created individually, I will repeat, no one knows. It is a mystery. So, beloved friends, there are parts of divine wisdom that we do not have access to, but we trust that since God is the supreme intelligence and the supreme source of love in the universe, we trust that God's will is perfect, and we are honored to have been willed into existence. How often throughout the day, beloved friends, do we stop to acknowledge God's divine wisdom in our lives? For instance, you and I are able to breathe automatically, meaning without having to think. This is the result of much effort and repetition throughout the school of divine evolution. But this is also the result of God's will for us. We are able to have eyes that allow us to see the beauty of nature. Do we stop to acknowledge God's wisdom and presence in nature? We are able to feel divine joy when we see a beautiful child giggling innocently out of the small joys of life. This is God's love presenting itself to us. Are we able to acknowledge it? When we are able to fraternally embrace someone who is dear to our hearts, we feel that our souls recognize each other on a divine level. This is God's presence in our lives. When a so called stranger is able to say a kind word or gesture kindly towards each and every one of us randomly. This is God's presence in our lives. So, beloved friends, question for us. Our first therapeutic question is as follows: how often do we recognize God's paternity in our lives? Question number one. Question number two: how often do we recognize the manifestations of God's love, big or small, in our lives as well? Do we have eyes to truly see God's love blossoming before us like a flower, awaiting for us to water it with our recognition, with our faith, with our trust, with our hope always for better days? So, these are the questions that we are going to meditate upon, promising ourselves together here in this circle of study that we are going to make an effort within the 24 hours that are to come to acknowledge God's presence, number one. And number two, as we acknowledge God's presence in our lives, we are also to give thanks to God for the honor of being God's creation. Friends, let us stop to think about this for a moment. If our quote unquote, and we say this with much, much love and respect, if our earthly parents who gave us our physical life and who tutor us in the name of God in this existence offer us so much love, how much more love shall God, the divine creator of everyone and everything, offer us? Beautiful question for us to actively meditate upon. Let us spend the 24 hours that are to come in this divine quest to both thank God for everything that has ever been granted to us, and also find God in the smallest details of our lives, knowing in this life more consciously than ever before that literally everything in our lives is a divine concession, is a sign of God's love, mercy, and presence in our existences. So, thank you, beloved friends, for joining us in this journey. And we already look forward to seeing everyone again next time. We wish everyone many blessings, and we invite everyone to stay tuned right here to Kardec Radio, where you and I are always nourishing our souls. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to Kardec Radio, where we are always nourishing our souls.